Today we're looking at the Gamesir Cyclone 2 versus the Gamesir Supernova controller. I'm going to be putting these two controllers head to head, talking about the differences between all the different features and see which one at the end of the day might be best for you to purchase. Let's hop into the video. Now, disclaimer, Gamesir is sponsoring this video. Hey, my first controller sponsor video. Thank you so much for Gamesir sponsoring the video. Full complete transparency here. They have given me complete free reign over this video. They did not tell me to say anything. They did not tell me what I could or could not say. They literally just said, yeah, we'll sponsor the video. Why not? So whether the controllers themselves, price-wise, the controllers that come with everything in the box, the Gamesir Nova, or the Supernova controller, is at, and it's $50 online right now. In the Supernova's $50 and the Cyclone 2 is $55 with the charging station. I'm not going to talk about the one without the charging station because I think it's stupid not to spend the extra $5, $6 and get the charging station with it. So if you don't want to spend the $5 extra and you don't want a charging station and you want to compare these two, that's fine. This is $50. This is $50, but you're going to get more stuff with this at $50 and this controller at $50. Just spend the extra $6, seriously. By the way, links for everything will be in the description below if you want to help the boy out. Let's hop into it. So let's talk about ergonomics of the controllers for a second here, and this is where it's going to get interesting to me. What we're going to do though is we're going to go into an overhead shot and talk about it that way. That way we can see the controllers close up to each other. So ergonomics of both the controllers themselves here, you can pretty much see it on screen. The Cyclone 2 kind of looks, it's really similar to the Xbox controller, right? This is pretty much what they were going for design wise here. Even though it's not an Xbox controller technically without an adapter, you can call it an Xbox controller because it's literally set up as an Xbox controller itself. So yeah, ergonomically, Xbox controller. Ergonomically, Nintendo Pro controller. Now, a lot of people love these style controllers, the ergonomic standpoint. It is really hard for me because when I first started and thought about when I first picked this controller up, I was like, oh, you know, the Cyclone 2 is going to get it. But as I played with the controller, I will be 100% honest with you, I absolutely love the way this felt in my hands. This feels fine in my hands too. You know what I mean? But for some reason, this just felt a little bit better. And I think, honestly, it's going to be because of the grips. The grips right here. And I'm literally off the top of my head right here because I'm feeling them now and I'm starting to realize why. Right here, you have like just a texture, like the plastic just has a texture on it. But right here, you have the Pro style rubber on it. And it feels, be honest with you, it feels premium in my personal opinion. Only time will tell if stuff like this is going to start pilling and stuff. The controller is entirely too new to even know if that's going to be happening or not. But, you know, just feeling it and holding it, it feels really good in the palms of my hands. I do really enjoy this controller. Ergonomically speaking, both controllers, I am going to give it to the Nova just because it feels better. It just literally does to me, you know, and on my Xbox, I love you guys, you know that, but it is what it is. So Supernova here on the bottom of the controller itself, you do not get the headphone port. Unfortunately, they did take that off of this controller. So if you are running a wired headset, that might make your buying experience a little bit easier because of right there. The controllers themselves are completely same laid out wise. For the most part, you can tell from up here that the buttons are just a little bit more laid out differently, but they pretty much do the same exact thing at the end of the day. Capture, that's going to be your capture, and then home, and that's going to be your home. This is just considered a home on this controller. So simple as that. The other things that are different is the faceplate on this controller itself actually already takes off. Now, I will say this is one of my gripes about this controller is it's not easy to take off. So when I pull on it like this, it doesn't come off easily. If I were to just continue to pry, what would happen is I think there's some clips right here or something, it's going to break. So I have to like pull up and then pull up like that. So when you take this off, just know the fingernail underneath right there and then grab from up top and then pull straight up and you should be okay. And kind of wiggle it and you're good to go. That's just my little bit of a gripe on the controller itself. What's cool about this though is, let me see if I can find it. As you've seen in the unboxing, it comes with two faceplates and you can actually buy other faceplates to go with this. So if you want the traditional black faceplate, it pops on. These faceplates on Amazon are only $10. So if you want to get like a different color and stuff like that and have different variation colors and stuff, I think that's really cool that they put these on here. Moving on. All right, other things on this controller is if you want to replace these buttons, you can. They come right out like so, and then you can move these around and stuff. Set them up to where you want them. Let's see if we can do this on screen here. These only go in one way. right? So A would go here and then B would go there. Boom. Well, boom, there you go. And they are not magnetic, so they will fall out. I honestly thought they were magnetic. We're leaving that in. So they kind of just fall into place right there and they'll be good to go. And the faceplate with the magnetic front holds everything together. But as you can see here, we can just switch it to the Xbox layout or the Nintendo Switch layout and we're good to go. You throw this on, and of course, that's what's gonna hold the buttons in themselves. The faceplate doesn't come off or anything like that. It's really well held on. But now you have a Nintendo Switch layout versus the Xbox layout, if that's something you want to go to. It's just super simple and easy to do. I've mentioned this before in the past. We're going to be like super close when I talk about this going back and forth. But, you know, and I had some people disagree with me in the comments. And if you disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments. I think it's cool to have these types of conversation. I just don't see the use of that because like when I buy the controller and I learn the button layout, I don't sit there and look at the controller to see where I'm hitting the button, right? You know what I mean? Like when I go to play the Nintendo Switch, I don't switch these buttons around because I already know for the most part how the Nintendo Switch is laid out. Or after like 3 seconds of playing with it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. The A and B and all in X and Y, so it's reverse. So take that for what it's worth. Personally, I don't see a use for it, but it's cool. It's there for you that want it. Moving on. All right, so the other things on the controller that are going to be different too is let's talk about XYBA for a second here. So the XYBA on the Supernova controller, they are membrane buttons. So just take that for what it's worth. If you are a tactile kind of player, you're not getting tactile buttons there. You can see how far it takes to actuate the button itself. So they don't feel bad. Don't get me wrong. And then you can see how some of them are lower than others. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments why that is. I don't really know. I'm just going to be honest, but you can see, I mean, just looking at it right there, the A and B is lower than the X and Y. And that's just how it is. It's still fine if you're in the membrane. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not mushy or anything like that. The play on the buttons themselves, not too bad. I've seen way worse. These are actually pretty good in my personal opinion, especially when you're able to move these out and swap them around and stuff. So for them to be that tight, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that's pretty good. They did a really good job on these faceplates. And let's just test the other faceplate. They all should be machined the same exact way and there shouldn't be no difference. But just want to test it out. I do like that with the RGB coming through with that. But in any case, yeah, they're pretty good. Really good design, and they're good. Moving on to this controller. These are tactile. So if you're into tactile and stuff like that, you're going to be into these controllers. Let me move this a little bit closer. So, and the buttons again, they're not loose hardly at all. You can see a little bit of wiggle room, maybe a little bit more in the Supernova if I'm being 100% honest, but not a lot. But they feel good. They actuate really good in my opinion. So they're actuating really good. I like them. I prefer these. I always have preferred tactile buttons. I just kind of, it's who I am. I like the way it feels in my hands and stuff. So take that for what it's worth. But tactile, membrane. Moving on. Same thing with the D-pad. You do get the membrane D-pad here on the controller itself. And I will show you the controller side by side. The D-pad on here is more raised and it has it's not tactile. I know what this is. It has that metal plate that just makes it pop and make it sound tactile. I don't think it's an actually tactile switch inside the controller itself. So it's kind of like that hybrid. Feels good, sounds good, but it is a little bit higher. I don't know if you like that or not about that controller, but you are gonna have a little bit of a higher raised D-pad right here. Take it for the word. I think if I remember correctly, there might have been people complaining about this D-pad. I haven't had no issues with it when I've played with it and tested it out, but this D-pad right here, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm a big fan of this D-pad, to be honest with you. I think it needs to be more on a rocker because I feel like, I'm trying to compare it to maybe a D-pad on a Gamesir or an 8-bit Duke controller. I just had this right here, and the 8-bit Duke controller just feels so much better than the Gamesir controller itself. So I'm not a big fan just pressing this and moving around and stuff. I'm not a big fan of this D-pad, to be 100% honest with you. It's not the worst in the world, but it's definitely not my favorite. I don't know how I would like it for fighting games and stuff like that. We'll have to test it and see if there's how the actuation is for roll-offs and stuff. All right, moving on. One of the most important things on these two controllers are going to be the sticks. They are different. So let's start with the Cyclone 2, they went to the TMR sticks. Now, if you don't know what TMR sticks are, they're simply a hybrid pretty much between potentiometers and as well as Hall effect sensors. See, with Hall effect sensors, the controller would potentially, the response rate and stuff wasn't as good as potentiometers. There's a huge issue a lot of people had playing with Hall effect sticks. A lot of people just didn't want to play with them. So Gamesir and a few other companies have started putting out TMR sticks, and it's literally a hybrid pretty much. They're still Hall effect sensors, but they have they have like the sensors are Hall effects, but they are way more, what's the word I'm freaking looking for? They're way more responsive to you playing with them and stuff, and they take less energy to run the controller. So you are even getting more battery life out of your controller. Now, it's not a whole lot, if I'm being honest with you. A lot of, it's not a whole lot more energy, but nevertheless, it takes less to run these than the potentiometers or the Hall effect sensors. And a lot of people are liking these sticks so far. Now, with that being said, so these have the TMR sticks in them. They work well, they do good. They have a great refresh rate and everything on them, or pulling rate on them. These are Hall effects. They went back to Hall effects on these controllers. Not 100% sure why. Maybe it was to keep the price around that $50 mark. Maybe. I'm not 100% honest with you. I do believe the more and more we turn to these newer controllers that are going to be coming out from a bunch of companies, I think more and more companies are just going to start phasing Hall effects out and going more to the TMRs, just because they are better at the end of the day from everything that I've read on and stuff. So just take that for what it's worth. But they are Hall effects, which means you're not gonna have to worry about like stick drift and stuff. Not to say they'll never develop stick drift, but you have a lot harder time for them to develop stick drift. So take that for what it's worth. They do have, both controllers do have the, the rings around them too, friction rings, so you don't have to worry about them. And just playing with them and stuff, they feel really good. And I'll be honest with you, I did not expect this controller itself to feel as good, because usually when they have plastic underneath them right here, and they have plastic here, and no matter, there's always a little spot I feel that just kind of gets caught, and you can kind of feel it grinding a little bit, but I don't feel that on here. Now, I know when I picked this controller up, these are metal on plastic, and they just feel so smooth. So, again, this controller itself is going to probably get it right there when it comes to the smoothness of the joysticks themselves, and just the joysticks overall, to be 100% honest with you, because these are TMR sticks at the end of the day versus Hall effect sticks. So the newer technology, the smoother with the metal rings on the caps themselves versus the plastic on the caps, you get them. But in any case, there's nothing wrong with them. They're just Hall effects. And we're kind of moving on from Hall effects, I feel like. All right, while we're talking about sticks and stuff, I got a PlayStation 5. We're going to just see if this fits it real quick for the sticks themselves. And you can see this has gone on perfectly fine right there. So PlayStation 5 for that. And I would assume pretty much all Gamesir controllers are PlayStation 5, FYI, if you didn't know that. So if you're looking for, if you want some control freaks for this, these will fit perfectly fine, the PlayStation 5. I'll link these below, as well as the controllers. Again, I appreciate any support from you guys there. So the back buttons and stuff, you can kind of see the different layout there. They went with a little bit of a different layout here, and I'm not mad at it, to be honest with you. I think that I like this. I think I prefer it, to be 100% honest with you. Now, does it matter at the end of the day? No, I think they're both pretty much placed perfectly fine where they are. But for some reason, I just enjoyed pressing these over these. These sounded more hollow than these, and these just pressed a little bit better in my personal opinion. A little bit of a lip there on it too, as you can see from the blurry video. And these have a little bit of a lip too, so take it for what it's worth. They're both fine. Just these pressed a little bit better. I enjoyed the back buttons on the Nova 2 a little bit better than the Nova, or than the Cyclone 2. I'm gonna get these controllers mixed up. Have I? I probably have. All right, anyways, moving on. So on the back right here, you can see here, you just have a switch to go from Bluetooth to your dongle. So that's pretty cool. You just switch it back and forth, don't have to do all that. And this is, you're gonna use the home button and stuff to switch back and forth between like your dongle and Android and iOS and all that. By the way, just speaking of compatibility and stuff, since we're talking about that, both controllers are compatible the same. You can go across Android, iOS, Switch, PC, and To be honest, I haven't tested this with the Xbox. Let me test that with the Xbox real quick. Okay, so just got done testing it on the Xbox to see if it works. So both controllers will work with the Xbox. This is what I'm using, just in case you're curious. This is the Magic X adapter that I picked up off of Amazon. I think it was like 30 bucks or something like that. I even bent it already, as you can see here, messing around. But pretty much I just plugged the dongle in and set it to what it needed to be set to, the Xbox. And yeah, the dongle picked it up, worked perfectly fine. Just keep in mind, people ask this in the comments all the time, is there delay? There's not a noticeable delay, but you're going from, you know, an adapter, you're going to a dongle to an adapter to make it work with the Xbox. So there's going to be a slight delay versus what it would be if you're going to the native device itself. So just keep that in mind. But anyways, works on Xbox, both of them. Moving on. Oh yeah, and it'll be linked in the control and, you know, description below, all that jazz. Okay. So let's talk about the front of the controllers themselves here. Cell phone holder here, USB-Cs, blah, blah, blah. And then we're also going to talk about the bumpers themselves. As you can see here, Nintendo Switch style bumpers, pretty much, they feel fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They do what they do. And then these bumpers here, I prefer these bumpers personally myself, just because it's the way the Xbox is, and I've always just preferred how they wrapped around, a little bit more ergonomically better in my personal opinion. Then you have the triggers themselves. Again, you are gonna have like the Nintendo Switch Pro, the way they wrap out and stuff here, and they press in fine. You do have trigger stops on the back of them right here, but these are not like, these are just mechanics inside to stop it from pulling back. So whatever you put them on, if you're pressing like a game or something like that, for a racing game or something like that, you're not going to be able to use these because it's going to cut out a lot of your throw. So it's only going to be at, you know, 10%. Now there is a way around this. If I remember correctly, I can do this with some other controllers. I assume you can do it with this too. Just go into the app and take the dead zone and bring it all the way down to make this be at 100% at wherever this is itself, if you want to do something manually like that, or you can just leave it like that. They press fine, they feel good, and everything else. Now, I do enjoy these a lot more because these do have trigger stops as well. I don't like where they are because they're like inside right here, and like if you don't have fingernails, you're gonna have an issue. Like you see, I'm having an issue like literally right now doing this video. But if you turn them off, you just pull them out like that, and then there's a little tab right there, as you can see, and it goes all the way in. But when you turn it on, I do like the way they look too, by the way. You get tactile, clicky, mouse clicky triggers, which I super enjoy playing FPS games and stuff like that. So these are default just gonna win for me because these are just like 100% better. Ease of use is gonna be these, because this is just like, I don't know why they didn't do that here. Like, why didn't they put these back here to make it a little bit easier? Because I mean, again, like there's just, you know, I don't have nails. Like, how many of us have nails? Like, come on. My nails are kind of dirty too. Anyways, moving on. Both controllers do have RGB lights and all that good stuff on here that you can set up as well. And I don't have them on, but I'll put B-roll up. There you go. RGB's there, and this has RGBs too, but I gotta have it plugged in and all that. B-roll from the other video. And also both controllers, if you do what I tell you to do, is get the dock, come with charging dock stands. And both of them do have the slot in the back for the USB dongle that you get with the controller, so you don't lose a port on your Xbox, or not Xbox, the Switch, PC, or Xbox. I would assume this would probably work with the Xbox too. I never tried that. It might be something I need to try, but I do enjoy this one better just because it has RGBs. It just looks a little more cleaner in my personal opinion versus this right here. There's nothing wrong with it. I just like the way this looks better. The Nova 2 looks better in my opinion, sitting on the dock stand versus the Cyclone 2. So take that for what it's worth. All right, let's talk about the battery life on both the controllers for a second. From what I see online and what I've got, this Cyclone 2 has 860 milliamp battery on it. I haven't had to like freak out about charging or anything because, you know, I got the dock stand. So I just put it on when I'm done. And the new Supernova 2 has 1,000 milliamp. So it is a little bit bigger of a problem. Bigger of a problem. I was reading something on screen when I said that. Bigger of a battery, so keep that in mind. But again, I'm just gonna place it on the charger when I'm done, and I don't have to worry about it anyways. But some people like to know about that. So hey, future self here. While I was editing this video, this part about to go into the app section. The app was not working correctly. I could not get this controller to pop up on the app. I reached out to my rep and asked, hey, is there an update? Because I got this controller pre-release. They actually said that, no, it's there. You just need to update some stuff. So I couldn't update the controller unless the app was updated. But the app wasn't updated. It showed the old version, but there wasn't a way to update it unless you delete the app off the PC and then reinstall it from Microsoft Store. That's dumb. We should have like an automatic update or be able to update it from somewhere. So that's something that needs to be fixed in my personal opinion, Gamesir. But the other thing is, I'm going to show you guys right now. I'm not going to go through and talk about this right here because this is all the same that I was just talking about, or I'm about to be talking about on every other controller I've done. So for the Tarantula and also the Cyclone 2, it's all the same setup. So, you know, I'm about to talk about it. You're about to see it, but I'm not going to redo this whole entire part because there's just no point to you. So in any case, if you don't have this version right here, let me show you one more time. If you don't have this version right here, make sure you update your app, uninstall it, and then reinstall it to your PC from the Microsoft Store. Again, that shouldn't be a thing. It's a firmware update would probably fix that so we can just get automatic updates. In any case, that's it. Moving on. Okay, so just real quick, going over the app itself. Now, when I connect to the controller, unless there's a different app that I don't know about, Connect is pretty much, the Gamesir Connect app is pretty much the new app for all the new controllers themselves. And this controller is not on there yet. I would assume it's going to be added on there, but the T3 Pro for the Tarantula is actually what made this controller come up. And as you can see here it is. Now, if you watch the T3 Tarantula controller review, you're going to know how to use the app on there. Everything is pretty much the same in here. I mean, it's the same freaking, it shows as this controller. So if you watch that, you know what it is. But even the other controller right here, the Cyclone 2, it's actually the same. It's gonna be the same app. So this app is the same as those. So I'm not gonna go over that, but it's here and you can use it here. What we are gonna do since we are here is if you wanna see me set the controller up a little bit, I'm gonna bring the dead zones down. I'm gonna make sure they still show at, you know, at 0% when I go and test them out on the controller itself. And then on the back, I just wanna set the back buttons up. So what I'm going to do is set them up from the controller itself. So if you don't want to use the app to set the controller up because it's not in here yet for some reason, you can literally set the app up, set the controller up from the app. And how you do that, and I'll show you real quick here, is like this. You're going to hold the M button and then hold the back button. So for instance, I want to set this back button, hold M, press the back button. You see how this is flashing? It's in pairing mode for the button you want to put on there. I'm going to hit the A button because that's what I want on there. You hit the back button. Okay. And then over here on Gamepad Tester itself, I'm on Gamepad Tester now. And if I hit the back buttons, they are set up for it. So we're good to go there. So you don't technically need the app unless you want to bring down the center like I did, which you can see here. They're close enough. I'm just going to run with them. I could probably bump it up by 1 if I want to do that. So we'll do that now. We'll come over here to sticks and we'll just take the dead zone to 1 and it should automatically save. And when I come back here, you can see it's pretty much center, not 100% center, but they're fine. It's circularity test real quick. And there you go. They are good for Hall Effect sticks. These are what your typical Hall Effect sticks look like. You probably set them on square mode. We can put them in raw if we want to. So we'll set the right stick. If I do the right stick, it's going to show really high. And that's to be expected because you're getting more of a reach. So take that for what it's worth. Other than that, the apps look the same. Move it. All right, so let's talk about it. At the end of the day, after playing with both of the controllers and testing both of the controllers out, to be honest with you, they're both fine. If you like, there's certain things on both controllers I do like more than the other. I'd be 100% honest, which was weird. I did enjoy the way this held almost a little bit better than the Xbox controller. I don't know why. It just felt good. It might have been because I haven't played a game in a while and I'm just happy to play the game. But when it comes to like overall, the Cyclone 2 Pro, it just has more of what I'm looking for into a controller, right? It has the tactile XYBA buttons. It has the clicky trigger stops that are going to go down to 100%. So it's just better for FPS games all the way around. It's got the new TMR sticks in it. You know, this where it's good, and this is like pretty much like your pro controller for Nintendo Switch, like I keep continuing to say. It just doesn't have any of that. You know, membrane buttons. If you like just regular trigger stops on a controller, if you prefer that Nintendo Switch Pro controller classic, the way it's designed and built and ergonomically made, then you know, you're going to enjoy the Supernova controller. There's nothing wrong with either controller at the end of the day. Honestly, they both work pretty well. If you have a headset wired, you're gonna might want to go with the Cyclone 2 because it has a wired headset. If you don't and you have a wireless headset, you can, you know, go with the Supernova if you enjoy, again, the ergonomic feel of the controller. So all that to say this, both controllers do cost the same at the end of the day, and they pretty much come with the same amount of stuff in the box, just different features on the controller itself. Let me know in the comments below what controller you want to see reviewed next. I haven't reviewed on the channel because I know there's some out that I haven't. Most likes on that comment, I'll probably go ahead and grab that controller because I know there's a few of them out there. And well, check out one of the videos that I'm posting above my head for you guys and gals to check out. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and love.